We are back here at AROPL Studios on Rise Up with a very dear brother of ours, who is also the messenger to South and North Korea, and that is Brother Remy. How are you doing, Remy?
Alhamdulillah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Brother Remy, it's a huge honor to have you on. We've been friends for a very long time, and to have you on the show at last is a great source of joy for me and for Alia to have you here to represent a part of the world that people would never expect to be from the followers of the Mahdi. And yet you have been one of the staunchest supporters since day one. And like I said, I'm over the moon that you are here joining us today.
Alhamdulillah, I'm very, very honored to be here. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Much, yes.
Excellent. Yes, so this is a segment of Medicine of the Mahdis, and it is a truly fascinating segment it's going to be. So I hope everybody will stay tuned, and we would love to have people call in and participate in this fascinating discussion that we're going to have with Brother Remy. So I thought I'd introduce this segment in using a recent interview by a very, very famous actor who has produced some great movies by the name of Mel Gibson, who was recently in an interview talking about a QiGong master that he encountered in the early 90s when he was having certain health problems. And let's bring up the quote on the screen and let's go through it, shall we? So Mel Gibson said in this interview that was recently released, he said, "In the early 90s, I used to have a QiGong master. He was from Shanghai. This is what kind of blows my mind about medicine and about ancient wisdom. He once told me, just by looking at me, that, quote, my liver was blocked. He was like an allopathic doctor first. He could see everything. He could literally push me over with energy coming out of his fingers without ever touching me. They could have built the pyramids like that." Yeah, that's an interesting quote, isn't it? Who knows? Once he lifted me up 8 inches in the air. It was like he pushed this force field at me. And I went across the room. I could feel the stuff coming off him. I could feel the heat. I studied with him for a while, but didn't have the focus that he had. This guy was something else.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. And, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him and his family, said, go in search of knowledge, even if to China. And there is an ancient wisdom tradition there that goes by many names, and this is why Brother Remy is here to explain this to us and tell us a bit about the history of this fascinating mystical treasure that exists in China that the Prophet Muhammad said that we can all benefit from. But on the other hand, you've got the scholars of today who are saying, forget about the land in the East. Actually, the China of today is New York and the US and Europe. And it just means they're interpreting the Prophet's words now because these are the centers for learning in this day and age. And nothing could be further from the truth. And this is why the scholars of religion are so corrupt and evil, and we are against them, because they are the biggest opposition and resistance to the call of the Mahdi. They've always opposed the prophets and the messengers, and they're doing the same now. But we will not let them get in our way. So, Brother Remy, you have been somebody who's been studying this mysterious art that Mel Gibson kind of alluded to in his interview. For a while, you've been interested in this topic in general for a very long time. I really feel that in the future, medicine will be practiced in this way, and I think it will cause a lot fewer side effects and a lot fewer problems for the patients. And talk about energy and a lack of it being the main issue that causes the breakdown of the immune system, the body. When he said your liver is blocked, this was absolutely true. And this QiGong master was able to heal a Hollywood celebrity who then made him famous.
Wow.
Yeah.
But no one knows where he is right now. Tell us about your experience with Qi, where it comes from, what it means, and how it can be used as a tool for healing and also for developing mankind to its full potential.
Okay. So Qi is a Chinese word to say for, in English, is like life force.
Life force.
A vital breath. Yeah? Mm-hmm. And also in Chinese traditional meaning, it goes back to health. The meaning is health in general, yes. And is available everywhere, in absolute inside of us, like in molecular, atomic and subatomic level, and also outside in the air everywhere. Right? So Qi is something we get when you're born in certain amount. Okay, so we have this certain amount. We have to take care of it. If it is used all, we die. So it shows how qi is important to be alive. Huh? So there's a way to keep it to increase this qi is to control is controlling the self, the mastering the self, like the body, the mind, and spirit, uniting all these three into one. Like when we are born, all these three are united. Then as time goes and we grow, we lose it because of lack of knowledge and practice. And also just ignorance. We don't know what is qi. Nobody teaches in general, right?
I mean, I've never heard about it or understood it like that.
So when we don't know, we lose it. And we weaken. And this is the destiny. We can die earlier. So it means what? It means if you know the knowledge of the qi, how to maintain and increase and taking care of it, then you can live longer. Elongates life.
Makes sense. It's life energy, right? Vital force. I think this leads on very nicely to my first question, and I have a bunch of them. So the first question really is, you mentioned that this is something that the ancient masters have spoken about, and it comes from the land of China, where it was originally developed as an idea, and it's a Chinese word, like you said. And you mentioned that it is the belief, at least, is in that tradition, is that we're born with a finite amount of qi. In other words, the body that we're born into comes with a certain amount of qi. But then you also said that it is possible. So the goal is conservation, number one, right? Yes. To make sure that you treasure that little that you've been given and to use it properly for good reasons and for good purposes. But you also said that it's possible to increase this qi. So where does that kind of work out? Is it possible to increase qi, or what is the belief in the Chinese ancient systems of in this tradition?
One of the way to lose a lot of qi is emotions. Emotions. Like, for example, if your mind is freaking out, you scatter the qi.
Wow.
You lose it.
That's amazing.
Okay. Subhanallah.
It's linked to the emotions, yes, a lot.
Yeah. And what does the evil nafs feed on? The evil wolf within, the golem, as Alia put it.
Also stagnation of qi. Stagnation of qi.
Yes.
In emotions. That's why the liver, so the 5 main organs like heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and spleen is linked to the 5 emotions, like anger, anxiety, happiness.
So what is the liver linked to? What's Mel Gibson's issue?
Is anger.
Anger,
yes.
Wow.
So how would it work that when you're very angry, it would affect your liver in a bad way? Is that what it means?
It has imbalance of energy because you're scattering energy. I think because each organ has its own guardian spirit. It's also qi. Yeah, they call it. So to give example, to make it simple, for example, they say in Taoism, qi is the basis of essence and spirit.
Qi is the essence, the basis
of essence and spirit. Means you need a good amount of essence to have a healthy qi.
Okay.
And you have enough of essence and qi, your spirit is full.
Okay.
So give us...
essence is like, you can find in the food. Also you have, of course, when you're born, you have a certain amount. It's in the food also. Like... for in Chinese writing, qi is composed of 2 things. One is rice or grains and plants. So source of qi energy is in the grains and like rice and plants.
And
this is writing, Chinese writing for qi. Yeah.
And Imam Ahmad from him his peace, he says that there's light in the vegetables and in the fruits.
Exactly.
So that's linked to the light that we find in these. Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. So we have this link. Interesting. And also this essence is actually in the cements. Cements actually same, which gives life, right? In Asia, in Chinese philosophy, the essence, the zheng or jing in Chinese is so precious because it's a small amount we have. It's so small that it can give. It's so precious that it can give birth to another
Yes, like the seed.
Yeah.
You can
Exactly,
give birth
seed.
to-
Exactly, seed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
I found it. Yeah, go ahead.
So you have to take care of it.
Absolutely. And you should take care of it. And when you don't, I guess that's when disease and pathology and problems start occurring in your body, is when that finite amount of chi that we're not working to increase. Now, that's my next question. How can we, in practical steps, for anybody who's interested, anybody who's watching, how can we, first of all, conserve our chi and then increase it?
So to conserve, you have to control our emotions.
Wow.
Yeah,
Emotional
the state
control.
of mind,
Okay.
in peace, calm, wake. This increase the chi, and also chi is not just amount. It's about amount. It's about quality also. Two state. You can refine, refresh, making pure. Okay. So your intention is right. Your will is right. Your chi is also pure.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
So if your intention is bad, the chi it becomes
Impure.
heavy and dark, and like when you get emotional, you can feel this sensation, heaviness, and a blocking of energy. You know,
That's so
You
true.
see?
Yes,
then
you
you
get very
lose this
stressed.
scattering of energy and heaviness, and yes, that's why when you breathe, when you do meditation, you cleanse, regenerate this chi. Breathe in means you take this pure, this neutral, pure chi energy, and breathe out this one which is
Bad for
heavier
you.
and dark and bad. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yes, so this is a really interesting concept, isn't it, in health and healing. And again, I come back to this example where he states in this interview, and I really highly recommend people go watch that interview, because you can tell that it had a profound effect on this individual that's brought up as a Catholic, as a person who believed in kind of science, cause and effect, all that stuff. And then this guy from Shanghai comes and completely turns his world upside down by telling him he has certain problems exactly where they are, and then healing him. So now, brother, Remy, you put it really well, that chi is about emotional control. And it's fascinating how he describes that, Mel Gibson says that this QiGong master is able to direct this energy into his body, which he experiences as a heat. So now this QiGong master that came from Shanghai in the early 90s and met Mel Gibson, he's not only got enough chi for his own life, but now he has the surplus and he uses it to heal people.
Yeah.
So emotional control is a great way to do it. And you mentioned eating the right kinds of foods. And in the book of Daniel, we've got this thing where Daniel has this 21-day fast where he only eats grains and vegetables and fruit.
Right.
Yes.
And then he's able to prophesy and see visions and interpret dreams and so on and so forth. So clearly, it's the same concept. Now, how do we reach the stage where we can actually increase it so that we have enough for ourselves and to give to others, which is really the goal of spirituality?
I think if you look at the history in the world, we can find everywhere this practice of physical activity, physical training, like martial arts or QiGong or Tai Chi Chuan. QiGong, the meaning in Chinese, Qi is energy, vital force, and Gong is like Kung Fu, like the first term Kung is QiGong. Gong means is like repeating something consistently, so to perfect. So you repeat. So like exercise, refining. So here QiGong is refining for exercise the energy. Yeah. And the Tai Chi Chuan is another type of this is like QiGong is like basis of martial arts, and Tai Chi Chuan is one of the very famous oldest martial arts beside Kung Fu from China. Tai Chi Chuan, the meaning is interesting also. The Tai means supreme, greatest, and Ji is a boundary or the roof. You see the roof on the top of roof. This is a Ji, or we can say the boundary of universe or something.
Like the height that
exactly,
you can reach.
but together is like a supreme higher. Okay, so the meaning of Tai Chi Chuan is like a fist, like fighting, fighting power. Huh? So it's like Tai Chi Chuan's meaning is so the power, the form of power with no boundaries.
Wow.
Unlimited power. So as we see here, healing someone when you have enough chi, you can also heal someone. Yeah.
That's
with
amazing.
touch. I mean, what was Jesus up to when he was curing people with the touch?
Interesting link.
Yes. I mean, just with mere words even. Qi, by the way, doesn't need touch, but Imam Ahmad al-Hasan has a very interesting prayer, right? In which he puts, Ahmad al-Hasan, from him his peace, the Yamani, the first Mahdi, mentioned by name in the will of the Prophet Muhammad, who claimed to be who he was back in 1999, he released this prayer, this dua, this supplication, where you put your right hand over your heart, which is the seat of emotion, or the nafs, and then he says, if you recite 12 times this particular prayer, which is, by the way, a prayer of tremendous ma'rifah, tremendous recognition of monotheism, as well as humility and many other things, if you recite it 12 times over your heart, it opens up your memories. It improves and increases memory. And this hand, these fingers, as a corridor into the chi. You know, there's this amazing thing when God says to Moses in the Quran, look at your hand shining.
Subhanallah.
He brings it out. And a lot of these chi masters, they're able to heal through touch and healing in the hand. And now Ahmad al-Hasan is saying, from him his peace, the Yamani is saying, that if you put your right hand, and why is it the right hand? He says, put your right hand over your heart. You just told us, brother, that in the ancient Chinese wisdom tradition to do with chi, the organs all represent something. So you said in the liver there is anger, and when you're angry, emotional states can damage the liver, which is fascinating insight. What about the heart? What does it represent?
Joy.
Joy.
Yeah, joy.
Sakina, peace.
I mean, it's like joy is part of like happiness is a part of emotions, because if it's too much, it can affect your chi.
Yes.
Also.
So too much joy is also not healthy?
Exactly, because the activity of spirit, the soul is the love, just love. Love is, it's without emotions, like angels, Abbasadik taught us. But emotions is joy, anger, anxiety, fear, and sadness, always, Sadness is lungs.
Like when you're watching a stand-up comedian for hours and saying, ha, 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 and you're laughing, laughing. That's not necessarily a good thing. And isn't it funny that you also, during that intense emotional of joy or laughter, you also sometimes end up crying in laughter?
Right, it does happen.
When people laugh too much, they feel like empty.
Right.
They feel very,
it's draining.
Empty.
It can be draining.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. So just because maybe some people don't know that context, we know from Abu Sadiq, from his piece, that the emotions, it's linked to the ego. So the nafs or the ego, it plays on emotions, and it's actually a ball of emotions that exists in the body, and we have to be able to overcome that ball of emotions to have control over the self. But love is separate. Love is a force. Love is love is part of the vital force, I'm sure. It's
the soul, yeah.
Exactly. It's linked to the soul and not the nafs. So that's a different matter. But the emotional side can damage you. Right? That's the thing.
Sure,
That's amazing.
Yes, so now you mentioned these physical exercises, this kind of the yoga version of what they have in China, right? Which is these mindful movements and breathing that kind of open up these gateways. Tell us about that.
They call it meditation and movement, because the basis of all these things is how to breathe, being aware.
Yes.
Apanasati. I think in Hindu is apanasati. Something like that.
Yeah,
so being aware of what you do.
Samadhi.
You cannot just breathe like being unaware. You know when you breathe in, out.
Amazing.
You see? And the purpose, as we know, to be quick, the purpose of meditation is to be aware of your breathing. You focus on your breathing. You can visualize in, out, going chi in, chi out. And you can elongate the time. You start with 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. Maybe you can increase after 4 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 day, 10 days. Some Taoist writings. Some people practice so much so they can dive, hot weather, summer, in a lake, fresh. He stays 10 days, he come out after 10 days. So it's about immortality.
That's amazing.
When another thing is, when you know the master who has this origin of chi, you can reach immortality.
This is it. You see, it has a spiritual domain as well.
Exactly.
And this is what my next question was going to point to. Now, Ali and I have been talking about this 40-day challenge that we're encouraging people to go on this journey. And actually, It's day 12. It's day 12. Thank you, Alia. And day 12 is getting closer to that 40-day challenge. And what we've been teaching people, or telling people rather, is that the Ahlul Bayt, the family of the Prophet Muhammad, they have these interesting narrations about if a person is able to focus for 40 days whilst giving up some bad habits and concentrating on the good nafs and feeding it, that wisdom will flow from your tongue. And I feel like we're in cheat mode at the moment, because we're on day 12 and wisdom is coming to us, alhamdulillah. And that's because the proof of God is with us, Abu Sadiq, the second Mahdi. But yeah, this idea of increasing taqwa. Now, we've talked about Qi and healing. And by the way, Brother Remy is an expert in Tai Chi. He's been practicing for many years. And you've kind of even taught classes and interested members of the community back in the day. And I certainly want to use this opportunity to revisit and revive that practice. And I think it will be tremendously beneficial if, like Mel Gibson, you have a problem with your liver, and many people do have liver issues, then there are certain types of exercise that you can do without the need for surgery or expensive medications that you need to take for many months or years. Perhaps you can cure yourself with Qi, as he was cured, and he is a living testimony. He's a famous person, and he has put this thing on the map, and a lot of people are now looking into it. He's created this Tai Chi revolution. By the way, it was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it was a very long conversation, and he just suddenly threw it in there. This is what I love about that free flow, live, natural shows.
Casual, organic conversation.
I was listening to this particular episode. I like Mel Gibson's work. I think he's done some excellent work, and suddenly this came across me. I was like, whoa, I have to get Remy. We have to get Remy on
we have to ask
Rise
Remy about this.
We have to get back into Tai Chi. And, increasing this energy of Qi is also what gives rise to taqwa. Now I have a question for you.
Yes.
Now, you talked about Taoism, all right? And I have been fascinated by the yin-yang symbol for a very long time. How is this symbol related to the concept of Qi and building that energy that gives us an awareness of God?
But as you said, we have two types of Qi, right?
Yes.
The dark side and the light, dark and light.
Yes.
Positive and negative.
Yeah, put up some of the images on the screen while Brother Remy's talking. I want to inspire people to do this. We need some Qi masters up on the screen, please. Go ahead. Sorry, brother.
Yes, I mean, like when we, in order to exist, Abu Sadiq said in Eagle of Rise that we need light and dark.
Yes.
Both. So we have this both side of yin-yang.
Yes.
Two forces, two states, duality, because we are in a 3D world, right? Space and time. So yin-yang principle is part of this world. I mean, when you sit down, you have to sit down to stand up. You have to stand up to sit down. You have to go the right side to go to left side, to be able to go to left side, right? Like breathe in order to breathe out. Everything's like two opposite states, complementary, a coupling, right? Like force also.
Yes.
So Qi. We need this. We have these two concepts, as we said, dark and light, and we have to refine this energy. And in martial arts, especially when you do this yoga or Tai Chi, QiGong, you have to always two state. You have to go lower. So some moves go lower. So walks on the lower limbs.
Yes.
You go, so you can go up also. So it's like balance in your moves. You go slow, so you can explode in power. Fast, swift move.
Yes.
You see this?
I'm telling you, all these images of Jedi Knights are being conjured up in my mind as a person who grew up in the 90s. Big fan. But this is what it was. The force that they were using was a neutral force, and the outlet is what was determining the goodness. So if you were a Jedi Knight, you would use it for good. If you were a Sith Lord, you'd be using it for evil purposes. Exactly. Sorry, the inner geek is very much still alive. Yeah. But this attracted a lot of people to this idea. May the force be with you. What is this force? Is it there's a dark side and a light side?
I guess. May the Qi be with you.
Yeah. It really did put the teachings of Lao Tzu and the yin-yang principle on the map, the Star Wars and the Jedi Knights. And what are the 313 except for Jedi Masters?
Yes.
SubhanAllah.
Sure. And I love that picture of Abu Sadiq. He's right there in the middle of the frame, and next to him is Imam Ahmad al-Hassan. Abu Sadiq is there in the black hat, and Ahmad al-Hassan is wearing the green turban. So these are really the Jedi Masters. These are the kingpins. And this is really important to emphasize now, isn't it? Now, this is secret, hidden knowledge that is entrusted
Wisdom
to those who are capable of using it for the right reasons. And in order to learn this, as with any other skill, it takes practice, but it also takes the tutelage and supervision of a person like Lao Tzu, who has the Spirit of God in his time and then gave it as a gift to his disciples. How does the presence of a Qi master in this day and age that we would call Imam Mahdi or the Qa'im of the family of Muhammad, how pivotal of a role do they play in the transmission of this knowledge? Or is this something we can just learn from ourselves?
No, I mean, they have a perfect role model example that we can witness every single day. As we said, we have to be calm and awake. So this is what we witness all the time. Abba Sadiq, when you look at Abba Sadiq, is always coming any circumstances, okay, stressful or not, problem, good. He always calm. So he emanates with a superior quality of Qi and full of Qi.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, right? So we have to reach. He's an emotion also. He's controlling his perfectly his emotions. Yeah.
Subhanallah.
Always same state of calm and serenity. Yeah. He's super Qi. Yeah.
That's super Qi.
Yeah. Super Qi.
Not just Qi, it's super Qi. The super soul Qi.
Yeah.
And this is not a concept that is just in the East. There have been it's this concept of this energy, this life force, this vital force that exists, which is independent of the phenomenal or material universe. Is actually, it goes beyond. There's a connection.
Both. Yeah, it's both physical and psychic. I mean, spiritual. Yeah, both. Because he's in as I said, molecular, atomic and subatomic level, and in the air everywhere.
Yes.
Like this super soul, Abba Sadiq is talking in one of his videos, right?
Yes.
It's everywhere.
Yes.
Because this is source of life. So God is also source of life.
Yes.
He's the only one who exists. In order to live, you have to exist. So gives life to all creations, right?
Amazing.
Yes.
Right?
That's beautiful.
And the yin yang, by the way, is a great thing to meditate on. There are people and masters who teach you to look at this image and meditate, because it literally is the transmutation of that shadow self that Carl Jung talks about when he talks about knowing your shadow, and by knowing it, transmuting the energy locked in its emotional states that come on a consistent basis, that Ahmad Hassan salam said are a key characteristic feature of the nafs, and using that energy in the emotion to give you that mental energy or that pure Qi that you can then use for good purposes, and to do more work and to do more creative tasks and to have more energy for your family and the community and serving mankind. And this is something that we all need to learn. And the person who has this knowledge is the Qa'im of the family of Muhammad in this time. Exactly. This is certainly going to be from one of those 25 letters, Remy. When do we get our hands on that?
I think the Qi you can see also
yes.
on your body, pulse here.
The pulse.
You can see something, you can feel it, but you can also see, but not on anybody, I think. As far as Abba Sadiq, he has this pulse very powerful. One day I saw him.
Yeah.
He showed me. He says Qi, and it's moving like.
Oh yeah.
It was incredible. Yeah.
This is fascinating. And by the way, this it's very insight. Look, if you're somebody who's a scientist and who, is into physics, look, they have proven it experimentally. Oh, I was just about to launch into a physics experiment, but it's all good. We have a caller.
A caller from India. We didn't catch the name.
Somebody's
Hello?
been enthused by this conversation, like myself. It's great. Hello?
Can you hear
Hello?
us? Hi there. Can we just have your name, please?
Hello. Jumana.
Jumana. How are you doing, Jumana?
I'm good. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Walaikum
nice
salam.
to talk to you.
Walaikum salam, sister. Thank you for calling. You're calling from the another land of great spiritual heritage and tradition, and the land of Prana and Purusha, which is the land of India. It's really great to have you on, sister. I think this is the first time I'm speaking to you, but Alia seems to know like she does.
We know Sister Jumana. She's a lovely, lovely sister of ours from India. Yeah, it's great. Thanks for calling in. What would you like to discuss?
Yes, it's really nice to talk you guys. I've been wanting to call since the 40-day journey started. Me and some other believers here, we're actually following the 40-day journey, and like some things that we couldn't ever have consistency about. With you guys, actually, so far it's been super consistent. So Alhamdulillah.
That's great news. I'm so happy to hear that. What a great update.
Yes.
Very good. Excellent.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said that's a great update. It's really good to hear that. I'm sure that your words are actually going to inspire others as well.
Exactly. It's about paying it forward and passing it on. And somebody listening to you right now will be like, well, the sister from India did it. I can do it. And then they'll start their own 40-day journey. And it works that way, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Alhamdulillah, yes. And I think it was what was missing all these years of, starting a practice, just working on goals and everything. What was missing was the intention of doing it for God.
Yes.
And I think that really, really changed the game for us. And listening to you guys every day really pumped us up. And thank you for that.
Yeah, no, very, very good point, sister. And a really, really critical point, because it's all about intention. If you want to learn Qi from a QiGong master, somebody who understands that there is a life force that is independent of this material existence that we're trapped in, but it at the same time animates and controls matter. The Mel Gibson in this interview we were talking about, he says, perhaps the pyramids of Giza were built in this way, because there's no physical, material explanation of how something was created with such precision. And people he testifies to being taken off, 8-10 inches off the ground by this master in QiGong. And this is something that we have to remember, that even in physics, I was saying, this idea exists where they've done experimentally. You take two coupled subatomic particles, you separate them, you do one thing to one of these particles, and the other one instantly changes. And the physics and mathematics tells us that if these two particles were spread over the length and breadth of the universe as we know it, the change would be instantaneous. Instantly from one to the other. And we say, well, from our knowledge, there's nothing faster than the speed of light. Well, this is where it gets mysterious, and there is no explanation for it other than the concept that they came up with, which is entanglement. And entanglement is also based on intentionality. If you're learning the concepts of we want to master Tai Chi and get this Chi energy going, but it's to impress the people and to make yourself famous so that Mel Gibson will talk about you on a podcast, that's not going to be good. And that's always going to bear rotten fruit. But if your intention is to truly heal and help people for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and become an instrument of His will, then that's going to have very positive outcomes.
God will give success to a good intention.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so far, the intentions are like, okay, I gotta be better. I want to do this. I want to, work out and, be more healthy. But okay, what for, right? If you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for yourself so that you, look good, or, people tell you, you've lost weight or you have strong muscles. I think that's why it won't really work out. But when you actually do it for, having the intention of serving in divine just state, and then it's alchemy happens, I guess.
Precisely. Very well said. And this is what it's about, really. I mean, this is what Brother Remy is talking about as well, that, they were prophets and messengers who shared this knowledge with the world. It wasn't some kind of satanic character that came forward and taught these things, because they shared goodness with the people. And this is exactly our job. And like you said, to exercise and become physically resilient is so that your intention must be so that you don't get sick on a consistent basis, and that you're able to serve and carry the burden of the proof of Allah as much as it is within your capacity to do so. And intention really does make all the difference. And it is something that I think you've highlighted that's very, very important. And God bless you for sharing this message. And this is why we encourage people to call in, because, God speaks through the tongue of our brothers and sisters. And the fact that you shared this message, it could be that shifting point in somebody else's spiritual journey.
Alhamdulillah. And I was also listening to the discussion that you were having with Brother Remy and, learning about Qi. And so I, like, by profession, I am actually a psychologist. I do counseling and psychotherapy. And I've always felt like something's really missing in the work that I do, because it's not like people are getting, people are getting better. Of course, there are, lots that, that one can do by, just giving a listening ear to people. But then so much of knowledge, from the Eastern side is so lost. Yeah. And things like, of course, like I deal with a lot of emotions on a daily basis of people. And I think, to really, really help people, of course, you need Abasadik, and there's no denying that. And also to really, look back into all the Eastern philosophies and what the prophets and messengers said, because I think that element is really missing in the psychology, the field of psychology right now. Yes. And I was just thinking about, and yes, Carl Jung, I think, he's one person who has, made it a little bit more, better than the other people, I believe, in the... Yes, absolutely. And I was just looking at the concept of yin-yang, and what Carl Jung said about, doing the light work and doing the shadow work. And that goes exactly with what, the 40-day journey, like whatever you guys have been talking about, which is the shadow work is so important. Looking at, so where we need work, like what traumas we carry and what happens, from what makes us behave right now, for like something absolutely unrelated. Like, of course, it brings up a lot of things like, insecurities, jealousies, which is real. And I think the shadow work, the yin and yang that you're talking about is, as much as we do the light work, we also have to do the shadow work, the golem inside, like Sister Alia said.
Absolutely, because there is a huge amount of energy that is trapped in our shadows. And actually, our bad habits, our addictions, some of the most spiritually developed people, if you look at their biographies and their stories, and Carl Jung, by the way, is one of them, that they struggled with these incredibly heavy shadows, these nafs, this entity, their inner golem, as we like to say on the show. To wrestle, the stronger your golem is, if you're able to, through intelligence, through wisdom, through practice, through perseverance, able to convert him, then you've got a very strong horse to take you to your destination. There's a lot of energy locked up in these dark things that exist under the surface of our consciousness, in our subconscious mind. And truly, to succeed spiritually through the methods of practice of Tai Chi or through meditational practices, our goal really is to go below that surface and unlock that energy trapped in this sleeping self, or as Carl Jung called it, the unconscious.
Yeah, and there's so much stuck in our unconscious, and it, I think in a lot of ways, why some people are also not able to accept this call, no matter how many proofs Father has put out there, is it's a lot of nafs, really. It's a lot of nafs. It's just not being able to accept it. Of really, course.
It's fear, it's anger, it's usually it's fear. It's mostly fear of the unknown and the unfamiliar, because it's never a logical reason that someone doesn't believe in the call of the Mahdi. It's never because of some good argument. It's always this lack of understanding, this ignorance, this fear that makes people angry, or makes them offended, or makes them feel afraid of the whole matter. But exactly what you're saying, it comes from the nafs. So a person who's worked on this ball of emotions, like Brother Remy was saying, and they're in control, and then they're in that state of serenity, they are receptive to truth. There's no other way to be receptive to truth.
Yes, and very well put, Alia. And this is it. This is exactly it. When we say the nafs is a ball of emotions, if we had to pin down one emotion, it is the emotion of fear. Yes. But herein lies the wisdom, is that you can choose to label that fear. You can say fear, F-E-A-R, something to talk about acronyms on the show, is you can choose to face everything and rise up, or you can choose to flee from that fear. You can forget everything and run. And this is that choice that you can make. You can by the way, this is a great point. Fear really does have the most energy, the most chi energy locked up, that you have the power to transmute into spiritual energy. It's actually a gift. And Imam Ahmad Hassan, from him his peace, said something very interesting. He gave this example, which Abba Sadiq often shares with us, is that if I took you to the top of a mountain and I asked you to jump, right? Would you be able to do it without a single atom's worth of fear? Completely at peace. And that is somebody who has definitely mastered chi.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Imagine becoming an entity of that kind of courage and that kind of faith. I mean, this is the supreme level of faith that we're all trying to reach. And you cannot do it on your own. No one can do it on their own. We need a teacher. We need a guide. And that's the Qaim right now. That's the riser of a Sadiq. Oh, I think maybe Sister
maybe that was the message we got. It's all good.
If you can hear us right now, thank you for calling in. We really appreciated that. Oh, you're still there. Are you there, Jumana? Seems to be a lag in the call.
It's all good. No, X, I didn't even know she was a psychologist. Fascinating.
Amazing.
I hope I didn't say anything incorrectly pertaining to Jung, but it was very interesting what she said, and I hope she could. And by the way, Remy, I've been inspired. We have to get some videos of these practices where you are being filmed and you show these basic techniques that we can then use on Rise Up.
We should really do this collaboration again of Medicine of the Mahdis and Brother Remy's knowledge and put it together for different episodes. I think that would be an amazing idea. Let's do that. And I'm so excited about knowing more. I'm sure everyone listening is as well. And I can't thank you enough for coming today, Brother Remy. We had so much fun.
Yeah, really did enjoy it.
Really enjoyed
Excellent. It was an inspired thing to have you on the show, and truly lived up to these expectations. And you can see the enthusiasm. The people want to know. They want to learn. They're calling in. And so let's give the people what they want, and let's open up these new discussions.
Thank you so very much.
Yes, and breathing really works.
Oh.
There you are, Jumana.
Yes, I'm still here. I was listening to you guys. I was just saying, breathing and movements really work. Like a lot of things that is in the body needs to be solved in the body itself. And I think breathing and movement is the way to go. Even if you're like, okay, if you're saying that, okay, I need to conquer this particular emotion, and you really cannot do it in your mind. You have to do it in your body as well. And breathing is the way to go.
I think that is very, very wise. The healing is from within first, isn't it? Thank you very much, Jumana, for calling in, and please give our greetings and salams.
Thank you for having me. Nice.
Thank you.
And you have to call more often.
Yeah, please call more often and give our greetings to everyone around you, all the believers there in India that you're connected with. And thank you so much. We really loved this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care, Jumana. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And thank you, Brother Remy, for joining us today.
Thanks so much.